just for people's information, I was called to a press conference with the Health Minister of Ontario, Dr. Eric Hoskins, and the very good news was that the province has agreed to fund $450,000 worth of staff for us. That will mean 4.5 people to implement our drug overdose plan. They will also be funding 80,000 naloxone kits for the province of Ontario, and a good number of them will go to the City of Toronto, of course. And within that, the public health units across Ontario have been designated as the institution that will be managing the naloxone distributions in their jurisdictions. So that's a good thing as well. So I think frankly, the province has done some good listening on the issue of drug overdose and the harms that come from that, of course, and the deaths that have come from that. And they have responded very well with a plan and also with a good amount of money. So that's...
Big problem is, though, they got 80,000 naloxone kits and they're going to be teaching chest compressions only. Signs of drug overdose mimic any respiratory emergency. It's costing you a fortune, $450,000. One person that suffers hypoxia from lack of oxygen will cost the taxpayer that much for one person alone. There's 1 million people taken to the hospital with a respiratory emergency. You leave them without air, they're dying. Every cell, tissue, and organ is dying. So this is the meeting with Mr. Hoskins there. John Tory and the Medical Officer of Health, January 9th, 2017, told him to stop murdering everybody. This is Joe Cressy. He's the drug strategy, Toronto Drug Strategy. Joe Mahavik, Chair of Board of Health. There's Mayor John Tory. Dr. Eric Hoskins standing right beside the sign, says chest compressions. Naloxone and chest compressions. More naloxone, more chest compressions. They're killing everybody. Yes, sir. 234 doctors wrote a letter to Mr. Hoskins there, and he didn't respond. That's April 2016. Ignores doctors. I talked to the nurses and the doctors down there at Public Health. They start crying. Gary, we're killing everybody with a breathing emergency. 'Cause jeepers, this is up there. I took this training, 2011. They can't supply any information. They've sent me letters. It's all doing with cardiac arrest. Well, we're not dealing with cardiac arrest. We're dealing with a respiratory emergency, which there's hundreds. I took another training session in public health. It's 90 minutes long. They teach you all these signs, which could be any respiratory emergency. Proves your heart's beating. Then they tell you to do this. Jeepers. Naloxone. Rescue breathing here. If you don't got naloxone, give them just rescue breathing. And on a nice blue cyanotic background. That's any respiratory emergency patient dying lack of oxygen in their blood. This is what you're supposed to do. Is all medicine. All medicine says, do this. Always has been, always will be. It's been around for 5,000 years. So there's only 15,000 out of hospital cardiac arrests in this province. That's the only time you give chest compressions. They're teaching people the worst possible thing you could do.
Saves lives. Learn how. Share the knowledge. When a person overdoses from an opioid, such as heroin, fentanyl, or OxyContin, they will start to nod off, likely lose consciousness, and may stop breathing.
No, they'll stop breathing.
Left alone, they may die.
That's the cause of death. Any respiratory emergency.
Naloxone will reverse the overdose and stop your system from absorbing
sometimes
the
it don't work.
Opioid circulating in their body.
I know all these three
Usually,
people.
the person will wake up on their own and may even go into withdrawal.
Peter called me the office in 2011. Yeah, until he shut up.
The naloxone will wear off after a period of time, and they could go back into an overdose. They
That's
definitely
right.
should not take another dose
Time
of the
release,
opioid
large
that caused
ingestion,
the
polydrug
overdose.
overdose might not be a drug
Naloxone has
overdose.
already saved many lives. Agencies who work with drug users through needle exchanges and other services should advise drug users to learn more. In many cities, public health offers training and free naloxone to opioid drug users. Users are almost always the first person on the scene when a friend overdoses. With proper training and the free kits, you can save a friend's life. If someone you know overdoses from an opioid, shake them and shout their name. Try to wake them up. If they are unresponsive, call 911 immediately.
And we know that there is indeed a risk,
Inject them with naloxone.
albeit lower,
Wait for the reaction.
associated with use of alcohol.
Receive medical attention.
The main
If the naloxone doesn't work, administer CPR chest compressions until the paramedics arrive.
related to cannabis
Let's go through this again.
has to be
Shake and shout. Call 911.
taken altogether.
Inject naloxone. Wait for the reaction.
It's being
Chest compressions. Receive medical attention.
really consider those
With proper training and the free kids, you can save a friend's life.
in terms of regulation.
Worst possible thing you could do.
So that you actually have the opportunity to really
There's my brother-in-law. He's an emergency physician. Just like any 10-year-old child that takes a first aid course at St. John Ambulance or the Red Cross. Breathing problem, air, heart's beating. Don't push on a beating heart, that'll kill him. God. You take it in bloody public school how the heart and lungs work. Jeepers. So all these people are making themselves sick, killing you all, and it's costing you a fortune. Jeepers. Heart's ACLS, advanced cardiac life support. Physician's worst nightmare, somebody's heart stopped secondary to respiratory arrest. Their chances of survival is so slim, it's a bloody miracle. So everybody, do this. Any breathing problem, give them air only. Air only. Yes. So low sides, bruise the heart's beating and you're dying lack of oxygen. Continue air until EMS arrives. Stop murdering everybody. It's too stupid. You're making yourself sick saying nothing.